Yeah. Can you can hook me up with the AP? Yeah, I'm trying to be like Shador. Yeah, you bust down my AP. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I just got off the phone with Johnny Dang. I'm trying to get. Oh shit! Wait. Hold on. Welcome back to the B Jack 70 show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and it's a 5-0 week. I got. I'm sorry if you heard that. I was trying to get my affairs in order. Um, I I got a little extra cash. I got a little extra cash on me. After going 5-0. After going 5-0, finally hit that 5-0 week. Brandon's bets, we did it. Hope you tailed it. Hope you followed it. Hope you parlayed it. I didn't even parlay it. I didn't even think about parlaying it, but I hope you parlayed it. Got your little extra cash, but you know, if you didn't, you need to be watching, you need to be following, you need to be subscribed. Go ahead. If you don't know, if you weren't here, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on. Every Friday, I'm gonna give you the best 5 bets of the NFL weekend, as evidenced by week 10, a 5-0 week. A 5-0 week, let's just go ahead, recap it now. Ravens, -4.5 against the Vikings. Easy. It was a little touch and go first half, but second half they came out, did what they needed to do. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Ravens defense did what they need to do. It was really bet against JJ McCarthy, and that worked out for me. Next up, had the Lions -8.5. Easy work. Domination. I said they was gonna run up the score. I said they wanted revenge. What happened? They wanted revenge. They got revenge. They ran up the score. Easy. Rams -4.5 against the Niners. It was semi close. It was semi close within range for the 49ers to maybe do a little something, but they didn't. Rams covered pretty easy by the end. That was easy. And then night game, Chargers -2.5. Pretty easy by the end. Chargers came in, took care of business, no offensive line. We'll talk about the Steelers in a little bit. But yeah, that capped off a 4-0 day, a 4-0 Sunday, and had to wait all day, had to wait for Eagles Packers, and Eagles +2.5. They won outright, like I said they would, like I thought they would, like I told you they would, and this is evidence. This is evidence. You see it on the screen here. 5-0 week, 32-18 against the spread so far through 10 weeks, 64%, elite clip, doing it big, doing it right. I'm giving you winners. If you're not following, if you're not watching, if you're not subscribed, that's on you at this point. That's on you at this point. So I would advise you, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for me. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell them Brandon Jackson at BJack70, better than your favorite better. I've been saying it for weeks now. I got the evidence to prove it. Go through the channel, watch the videos. I'm here. We're here. Finally hit the 5-0 week. Finally hit the 5-0 week. So if that's not proof enough for you, I got nothing else to say. But we move on. We move on. If you followed, if you tailed, you're welcome. If you're going to get on board, jump on the bandwagon, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you subscribing. Appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead, man. Get into Takeaway Tuesday. Takeaway Tuesday. I give you my biggest takeaways from the weekend in the NFL. And the first thing we'll get into is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, people got mad at me on TikTok. I posted it on TikTok. I posted it on here. I posted it on Twitter. And some people got mad at me because I said that the Pittsburgh Steelers would get walked down for the division by the Baltimore Ravens. And if you don't know what I mean, what I'm saying is that the Baltimore Ravens, who are currently um Baltimore's currently 4-5, and the Steelers are currently 5-4. And they're 5-4 and they currently lead the AFC North. Just for your information, the Bengals are 3-6. Um, but yeah, the Ravens are 4-5. They're a game behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I said that the Baltimore Ravens would overtake the Pittsburgh Steelers and win the AFC North. And um I said this after Lamar came back. People got mad. People was like, "Oh, you wanna bet your bottom dollar, your top dollar, your finest, your life savings on it?" No, I don't. I don't want to do that because I'm a responsible bettor. I'm a responsible gambler, so I wouldn't bet my life savings on it. But I believe it to be true. And we're another step closer to that. Baltimore handled their business against the Vikings, and the Steelers did not. They did not handle their business against the Chargers. So, watching that game on Sunday night, the Chargers lost Joe Alt, lost Rashawn Slater before the season started. Um, they can't block anybody. When they drop back to pass, they're just hoping that Justin Herbert can get back there and make a decision quick enough to get the ball out. Because when he's back there, they're not protecting him. Justin Herbert is getting hit every single time he drops back to pass. And that's not sustainable. That is not something that can continue to happen. But for the purposes of this week, they got it done. And against the Steelers with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, um, you would think that given the Chargers can't block anybody, that the great, the all-time great, historically historic pass rusher TJ Watt would have his way. He got a sack, but it was in garbage time. No, he did deflect a pass while the game was still close. He got a pass deflection on Justin Herbert while the game was still close. But his impact was not felt. His impact was not felt on that game. Um, the Steelers secondary dropping like flies. They lost Darius Slay, uh, Porter, Joey Porter Jr. got hurt. I don't remember if he came back in or not, but he got injured. Jalen Ramsey playing free safety now, not playing corner anymore. They just cut Juan Thornhill. He wasn't playing anyway, but they cut him. Their defense needs to figure it out. Now they did, you know, hold the Chargers down a little bit. The Chargers eventually figured it out, kept it going, kept it moving. But this Steelers team, and I'm spending too much time on the defense and the pass rush, not actually being able to get home. But Aaron Rodgers had a bad game. Aaron Rodgers did not play up to the standard that he has set for himself during the year 2025. It's unfair to hold him to Green Bay Aaron Rodgers standards, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hold him to the standard that he's been showing throughout this calendar year, and he didn't hold himself up to that Sunday night. Threw two interceptions. One of them wasn't his fault. He couldn't have handed the ball better to Kenneth Gainwell. He couldn't have handed him the ball easier than what he threw it to him, and 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 Gainwell dropped it, tipped it up, dropped it, tipped it up, interception. Now that's completely unlucky. And the other interception he threw, he tried to thread the needle, but threw it too high, overthrew DK Metcalf. Um, and that looked bad, but I understood what he was trying to do. But still, there's two interceptions in the box score. Two interceptions for a man that doesn't throw interceptions, or his calling card is not throwing interceptions. And besides that, he was kind of inaccurate. He was throwing high, like Chris Collinsworth noted that a lot during the game. And it's tough. It's tough because he's doing his best out there, but the Steelers only having one real wide receiver out there is not doing them any favors. It's really not. Um, like I think Baltimore is going to win this division. I still think Mike Tomlin's streak of being over 500 or not being under 500 is probably going to still be intact somehow. Like the Steelers team will find a way to win more games this season, and they better hope that they get one against Cincinnati this weekend. But I I don't I don't want to be one of those guys calling for Mike Tomlin's job, but something has to change. They've been in this purgatory, that place where you really don't want to be. They're not good enough to get over the hump in the playoffs, but they're not bad enough to bottom out, get a um get a franchise quarterback of the future. They're right in the middle. They're right in the middle, good enough to be in the mix to make the playoffs and then lose first round. That's a terrible place to be for this long. It's not like basketball in the NBA where if you're in that, like you had like that's a death sentence if you're in the middle like that. You need to tank, or you need to trade for a superstar. It doesn't necessarily work like that in football and NFL. Like you will take a little bit of sustained success like that, but the Steelers have been in this position way too long. It's been I, I don't know how I actually don't know how long it's been since they've won a playoff game. And it's that streak is going to continue this year. This team is not good enough to win a playoff game. I don't know if they're a good enough team to make the playoffs. I don't think honestly, I don't think 9-8 will be good enough for an AFC team to make it into the playoffs. And if it is, it won't be good enough for the Steelers. I'm sure they'll lose out on some tiebreakers somewhere. Um but yeah, people got mad at me. People looked at me crazy. People talking to me crazy in my comments on TikTok, saying when I told the truth, the proof is here. The proof is here. The Ravens are going to catch y'all. They are going to catch the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are going to win the AFC North. And again, like I said, y'all get a win against Cincinnati this weekend, because you really, if you give the Ravens real momentum, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. So don't shoot the messenger, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. Do I even need to talk about the Cleveland Browns? Do I really need to talk about them this week? I'm not even upset. I'm not even mad. they lost to the Jets, and I'm not surprised they lost to the Jets. I'm a little surprised in the fashion that they lost to the Jets, but then again, not really. They gave up two special teams touchdowns, and you know, Bubba Ventrone has got to go. But he won't. Kevin Stefanski won't get rid of him. And I almost respect the fact that he's so loyal to his coordinators and assistant coaches. I respect he'll stick by him, like he's made the decision to hire them and bring them in and stick with them, but he's if you're gonna do that, then you gotta be prepared to go down on the ship with him. And, I don't think bad special teams is gonna be the reason that Kevin Stefanski gets fired. But it's definitely not helping. It's definitely not helping. I imagine they'll finish the season. Kevin will finish the season, and once Black Monday or whatever they call it hits, I imagine we'll get that notification. Kevin Stefanski has been fired by the Cleveland Browns, and I think I'm not even trying to be hot takey. I'm not trying to cause a stir or even be upset. I just think it's time for a new voice. Just a new voice in the locker room leading this Cleveland Browns football team. Because even even if they get some new personnel, some new offensive linemen, he's still going to be the one that's fully in charge of the offense. I know Tommy Reese is calling the plays right now, but that that game plan is set by Kevin Stefanski. Nothing is going to go on that call sheet that he doesn't approve of explicitly. So really changing play callers isn't really gonna do much for you. Um I just feel like they need somebody else in there. They need somebody else just to give life into the program, because there's no life in this Cleveland Browns program. Browns are in the worst place you could possibly be. They're bad, and there's no hope. There's no hope for a young quarterback. There's no hope for a coach that we know has got it and he's going to lead us into the promised land eventually. We, he's won a playoff game, a playoff game that he wasn't present for. Um, but we talk about Cleveland Browns fans. We talk about hope a lot. We talk about the future a lot. There's always next year, and at some point we're gonna have to get tired of saying there's always next year. Um, you know, Doing mock drafts in November. There comes a point where we're going to have to stop doing that and being okay with that. But this isn't the year. This isn't the year. Go ahead, fire up your mock drafts. Go ahead and hate watch the Jacksonville Jaguars, hoping for a better pick, and they're doing a good job of sabotaging themselves right now, losing to Davis Mills and the Houston Texans. Um, but it like there's no hope in this organization. Dillon Gabriel, let me be respectful. Let me be respectful. Dillon Gabriel is just a backup in this league. I think I don't know if any more games would show us more. At least as at how the Browns are currently situated, what their roster is, what the receiving core is, what the offensive line is, more games of Dillon Gabriel isn't going to show us more. Because as it stands, it just looks like he will be a fine backup in this league. Come in, he'll know the playbook, he'll be able to run the plays how you want them run, but the execution might be lacking. The physical attributes might be lacking, but you know that he'll know the right thing to do. He might just not be able to execute it all the time. And that's why he's not a starter. He'll just be a good backup for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that except for the fact, you drafted that guy in the third round. Other than that, there's not a real shame in being a backup. That is an excellent job. That is an excellent career to have, and pretty much everybody listening to this podcast would love to have a job as a backup quarterback in the NFL. So I will give him credit for that. But as far as I can tell, more games of this season for Dillon Gabriel won't show us anything new. And yes, I want Shador Sanders to play. I was gonna add a but on there, but I do want to see him play because some of the throws or some of the misses that I see Dillon Gabriel have on Sunday against the Jets, I know for sure that Shador Sanders can make these passes. I know he can. Now, say what you will, he may hold the ball too long. He may overestimate his athletic ability in trying to evade rushers. Um, Hell, he may not even, process well as the supercomputer Dillon Gabriel. All those things can be true, but I know when he drops back and his feet are set and he is using his arm to throw the football, I know he can make better throws than Dillon Gabriel. I know it for a fact 100% because we've seen it all summer in practice. We saw it when he played in the preseason. Is can the decision making be better? Probably. Is he going to be a franchise quarterback? I don't know. The odds are he's not, but I know for certain, and I will stand on this, until I'm proven. If I'm proven wrong, I will say I will come on here and I will say I was wrong. But when Shador gets in, I know that he will be able to complete the passes that are open that Dillon Gabriel was not able to make. I know that. I know that I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. And again, I'm not making any proclamations on Shador could save the season. Shador could play well enough for them to not take a quarterback in the first round next year. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is what I'm seeing on the field every Sunday with Dillon Gabriel and the throws that he makes and the throws that he misses. Shador Sanders could do a better job making those passes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He, I'm interested because he's going to get a shot. I'm interested to see what it looks like because we know when he goes in, we're as a fan base, we're going to be energized because there's going to be a new quarterback going in. We're going to have high expectations. I know I'm gonna have high expectations. I'm gonna come on here whenever we know that Shador is gonna start. I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna have reasonably high expectations for him just because I am one of those people that believes in Shador Sanders, but also I know realistically what the offense has been all season, and I know what it could potentially look like. I don't, he's probably not going to set the world on fire whenever that happens, but I know in my heart that he has to be able to look better than what Dillon Gabriel has provided. And again, if I'm wrong, I will come on here and say that I'm wrong, but I don't think I will be. I don't think I will be. So, he's going to go ahead, he's going to start against the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. Hope most of the world isn't going to see that game, see that destruction, because the Chiefs were no the Browns are playing the Ravens at 4:25, and the Chiefs are playing the Broncos at 4:25. So most of the world is going to see that get Tony Romo and Jim Nance on the call. But lucky for us, local guys in Cleveland, local families in Cleveland, we're going to get to see Dillon Gabriel go against the Baltimore Ravens and probably stink it up again. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Maybe they might be involved in Brandon's bets on Friday. Have not made that determination yet. It's a long way away. But I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. And the last couple quick hitters for Takeaway Tuesday, Brian Daboll, the Giants head coach, got fired on Monday afternoon. Josina Anderson tweeted Monday morning, you're not just the coach of the quarterback, you're the coach of the whole football team. And a lot of people were like, what does that mean? Who are you talking about? What's going on? Seems as if it was Brian Daboll because that would fit his mojo, being being the head coach of essentially just the quarterback. Um, again, get you somebody that looks at you like Brian Daboll looked at Jackson Dart. That was love at first sight. But that pairing is no more. That marriage is no more. Like in true love is blind fashion, looks like the Giants front office said no at the altar. They shut it down. They Brian Daboll, Jackson Dart. They shut that down. They shut that down. Uh, but surprisingly, ownership has come out and said their GM Joe Shane is going to lead the next coaching search, which means that they believe in him to to hire the next head coach and to keep being the general manager. That's insane. That's really insane to me. Um, he was just as bad as Dayball. Like that, like if you look at that New York Giants roster, Malik Neighbors isn't there, but apart from there, they have no real wide receivers. Wandale Robinson is a good slot guy. Darius Slayton every now and then will get you something deep, but they don't really have any other guys besides Malik Neighbors in there. Um, and really, for your rookie quarterback's development, you really want to have him working with some real like some real wide receivers out there, but they didn't have any. The offensive line, it wasn't for a lack of trying. They tried to get Evan Neal. Andrew Thomas is great, but he's been in and out. Uh, they did well. They found Cam Scatterboo, but that hasn't worked out well, it was working out, but it won't work out for the rest of this season because of injury. But that's not really on the general manager. But like this team, this roster, other than their pass rushers, their pass rushers are good. But like, what else? What else are they bringing to the table? They seem it. It seems like they got the quarterback right. And was that a Joe Shane pick? Was that a Brian Daboll exclusive pick? We don't know whoever did it. It doesn't matter at this point because Joe Shane gets the credit. He's still there, and Brian Daboll isn't there. I I really don't understand that move. Like, if the Browns get rid of Stefanski and keep Andrew Berry, I understand that. The Titans fired Brian Callahan. They kept their GM because that's a new GM. So like I understand keeping the new GM, but I mean this Joe Shane has been there forever. We all saw on live TV the the hard knocks. Joe Shane, just essentially kicking Saquon Barkley out of the building, metaphorically, of course. And, we've seen what he's done with the Philadelphia Eagles. That was Joe Shane. You know, Fans of the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Commanders, they rejoiced today because they know that the New York Giants franchise is still in bad hands. It's still in bad hands. And this is how NFL football teams stay bad. They stay bad because they keep bad people in positions of power. And, I say bad people, I don't mean, I don't know about Joe Shane. I'm not talking about his actual character, but, subpar at their job, bad at their job people in power. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. These NFL teams, they got to get it together. But last thing, don't have a lot to say because there's not a lot of news behind it. But Joe Burrow was back at practice on Monday. 21-day window has been opened, and he says the goal is to make it back to play Thursday night on Thanksgiving against the Baltimore Ravens. It'll be great for the league. It'll be great spectacle if he can come back Thursday night on Thanksgiving. It'll be, the Cowboys against the Chiefs is probably going to be the most watched game of the regular season. That next game, that Bengals Ravens game might be the second most watched if Joe Burrow can make it back. So, we want to see great quarterbacks play. We want to see NFL football players healthy. So I'm wishing him the best. I hope he can come back. I hope he can, save one of my fantasy teams. We're holding on by a thread, and if I could just get my quarterback back, that might put me over the edge. So I'm hoping for Joe Burrow to come back strong. Maybe depending on what they do for the next 3 weeks, can they hold on enough to make some noise at the end of that playoff picture? Can they hold on, get in as a 7 seed, as a 6 seed? I don't know if they'll. I mean, they're not too far off. They're not too far off of the Steelers for the division. You know, they're not. They're currently a game behind the Ravens, who I think are going to win the division. So anything can happen in this AFC North division race, except the Browns winning it because they're done. They're cooked. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, good luck to Joe Burrow. Can't wait to see him back on the field. Way ahead, way ahead of schedule. We thought we wouldn't see him. If we saw him again, it wouldn't be until December. So if he can get back on Thanksgiving, I would love it. You would love it. The league would love it. Fans will love it. You know, everybody wants to see it. So I hope it happens. But that'll be it for Takeaway Tuesday, the BJack 70 show. Once again, I am I'm 32 and 18 against the spread through 10 weeks of NFL football. 5-0 week in week 10. Made a lot of money. Um it was a good week. It was a good weekend. Did did a little college football betting too. It was I'm not going to give those picks out cuz I don't know as much. I don't follow it as close as I do the NFL, but when they hit, when you're on a streak, you're on a streak. And I'm on a hot streak right now, but appreciate you being here. If you're watching, go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. Brandon Jackson at BJack70. Better than your favorite. Better. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. And until next time, on Friday, for Brandon's Bets, I'll see you.